My name is Jennifer Colegrove. I wrote a memoir in the last 10 years. It is called Foolishly Brave, Unconditionally Blessed, From a Chinese Girl to American Working Mother. It's available in both English and Chinese on Amazon.com. We told a few stories before. Today we'll tell another story from this memoir. In the communist China during the 1970s and 1980s, the government owned everything. People rented apartments the government unit assigned to them and went to schools based on the type of work they did or the government department they worked for. My father worked for the railroad. My high school was the best high school for the railroad workers and officers in my hometown. Many of my classmates were from families of high-level officers with a railroad bureau or from rich families. Some classmates enrolled in our high school by having very good test scores. Others made it in through the political power of their parents. One day I was invited and visited the classmates' apartment to play. I found their apartment to be very spacious with expensive furniture, central heating, and an air conditioner. My parents' apartment had none of that. When I came home, I told my parents about it, and my mom used the opportunity to teach me. She said, "Little Jen, don't compare yourself with others, what material things they have, or what they wear, or what they eat. Compare yourself with people who study the hardest and have the best score." A Chinese proverb goes, "Compare one person to another and you die of envy." Another proverb says, "Compare ourselves with those above us. We don't have enough. But comparing ourselves with those below us, we have more than enough." Another Chinese proverb says, "Seeing righteous people, thinking to catch up with them." These are all good advice. You will always meet people who are luckier, richer, taller, more righteous, or more beautiful than you. It's okay to compare. What matters is what you feel and do after your comparison. There are 4 choices. First choice, after you compare, you might feel jealous, bitter, and unhappy. When you compare yourself to others who have more material things all the time, you won't be happy. If you always look at social media to see other people's vacation pictures, you might feel they are always on nice vacations. They are not always on vacation. That's just what they posted. You should also look at people who are not fortunate. You will feel you have more. The second choice, after you compare, you feel relieved. I'm not too bad off. You stop to self-pity or stop to be anxious. A wise person said, "I used to be sad that I didn't have shoes until I saw a person who doesn't have feet." Several years ago, I read a story about an American soldier from Texas who lost his legs in the Iraq War. He was devastated until he met other wounded soldiers in the rehab center. Many had lost their facial trauma and had brain damage. They couldn't recognize their families, or they had lost their sight. The soldier from Texas who had lost his legs felt much better when he compared himself with other wounded soldiers, because he still had his mind and his sight. He continued rehab and learned to use artificial legs. Later, he got married and had children. The third choice, after you compare, you feel inspired and admire the other person's characters or heroic actions. You decide to learn from and catch up with the other person. Make sure to compare characters and righteousness. Number 4 choice, after you compare, you feel sympathy for others. You want to help the other person. My mom taught me about what to compare and what high priority is, and how to handle peer pressure when I was in high school. Thank you for watching. We'll tell more stories tomorrow.